evening and welcome to MCFC 9320 PUBcast, and I'm back. I'm back from a nice little break. How is everyone?
Good.
Good. Whoops. I'm still very much upset about KDB, if I'm being totally honest. But we'll get into it anyway. We'll get into it. Why have we got Stan twice?
Yeah, but it only on once.
Good evening to everybody in the chat and stuff like that. Yeah, come on. Who didn't shed a tear at the end? KDB.
I didn't.
You pair of knobheads. I did.
Crying over Kevin Bryan for?
I didn't say I cried. I said I had a tear in my eye, as I did last Tuesday. We won't see a player like that on these shows again, mate.
Maybe not in our lifetime.
Said that every year for the last 6 years.
We're going to be chatting tonight about the match, KDB, Champions League football, but also we're going to be chatting who will be still with us next season. I've got a list there, and Marie's done a list, and I think Paddy's done a list as well. So let us see how linked up we really are here. Because Stan's late to the party, but that's what we was doing while we was waiting for everybody. Right, let's get into today's match. We just did enough, didn't we, Anne-Marie, just to secure that?
Well, we did what we needed to do, and that was the most important thing. Mm-hmm. You know, unlike a lot of the other games around us, there was no drama in ours. We just got the result. Job done. 3 points. Champions League football. None of this nervy last-minute stuff. Or
Gundo rolled the years back, Paddy, again with a great goal and I was going to say win a penalty, but it was a penalty. It was a foul. It was a foul on him.
Yeah, but it's end of the season, is it? That's what Gundo does. Comes good at the end of the season. I don't think I know we won 2-0, but I don't think it was as comfortable as I'd have liked if it had been. I thought Fulham looked fairly dangerous.
We could have upped a few gears there, Stan, couldn't we?
No idea, mate. Contractual issues. I didn't see the game, mate. Didn't see the game, so I'm not going to sit here and lie and say we did really well. No idea. I've seen the goals, and
was you back today, mate?
No, it didn't, nothing. Didn't work. Nothing. Didn't see the game at all. But Anne-Marie was spot on there. There was no fuss. There was no hassles. We could leisurely survive the last 5 minutes of the season, knowing that we were in the Champions League. Fantastic. First time in a long time we can spend the last 5 minutes of the Premier League not worrying.
And Liverpool won the league, apparently. I don't think nobody gives a shit, do they?
I don't know. Nobody's mentioned it.
I know. Anne-Marie, Gundo today, he rolled the years back, but I thought Akanji was very, very good today.
Well, he needed to up his game.
You're brutal, you.
Well, it's not brutal. It's just honest. I thought he had a shocker in the cup final.
You've been brutal since you had an haircut like me.
But I just think, you know, and it's not necessarily Akanji's fault. I kind of have to look at Pep a little bit. But you look at, we've done really well up till the cup final. Yeah. And then you get, you know, we've got Haaland back, we've got Akanji back from injury, and they walk straight back into the team. And I don't think that should be, it shouldn't be a given that they walk straight back into the team. Because it's not as, you know, Akanji'd been out since February. So, but there's, you know, we go on about match fitness, and I don't know whether he was quite at it last weekend.
Well,
that's just my opinion. That's just my opinion.
And to be fair, I asked you a question about Akanji today, not last week.
But yeah, he did okay today. But then, tell me who didn't do okay today.
I just thought it was a third gear performance. I think we could have gone up a few gears if need be. Thought Nico did really, really well. What it was shades of Rodri. When he got the ball, the way he strikes the ball. I just thought it was comfortable because there was too many other results, Paddy, wasn't there, what would have had to have gone against us today for us to have dropped out of that top 5.
Yeah, and I think that's what took the pressure off it, that the other games weren't breathing down our neck as such, but like obviously the players didn't know that. We knew that as fans. It was routine. It was a bit like when we went 2-0 up, it was kind of like, right, fucking blow it up and end this season and do what we need to do and start afresh again.
Yeah, Paddy. Stan.
Yes, mate.
Since Nunes joined our club, I'm not saying this is the only channel what's supported him and backed him all the way through, and we're seeing him come up with some really and I'm glad Keith pointed this one out. We're seeing some really good performances from him, considering he's not a right back, but I think he does an absolute brilliant job. The way his turn of pace, the way he presses their wingers. When I say they, I mean different teams' wingers back. And it's good to see there's more and more people now recognising the job, what he actually does.
Yeah, because I think people have realised now that he was one of the key components of when Pep realised what was going on and we had to pack the midfield in. He was going to have to lose the width up front and in the midfield and get it from somewhere. And he's got it from the fullbacks, O'Reilly and Nunes. They've both been fantastic jobs. I was a little bit surprised neither of them started the cup final. Well, that's Pep for you. He will tend to go for people he knows and trusts, which is why Akanji's got in. A friend of mine said that they had a lump of wood at home and that was more useful than Akanji. But, everyone's got different points of view. But I think he has, and one of the good things is with Nunes, he was known for a ball-carrying midfielder. Now he's a ball-carrying right back, and he can get the ball forward. And if I think rightly, from what I've seen, did he not supply the cross from which Gundogan scored?
He did, mate. Yep.
Yeah, and that's what he's good at. So he's given us that little bit of extra width. I know Doku and Savio should be doing that, but he's had to bring him in a little bit just to make sure that defense, that midfield's solid. So that's my take on it. But yeah, that's the only channel that has backed him all the way through. And we do tend to back the players when most people go against him, because I think we understand that Guardiola, for all his foibles, and there aren't many of them, does do really irritating things, but that's just who he is. And it ain't going to change now. From what I can see, it seems to have worked.
And Marie, what are your thoughts on Pep's? And again, we've not spoke about any of this. Pep's comments about if he's forced to have a big squad, that he will quit.
I think all these comments are taken out of context, and if people kind of look at the bigger picture. Really, he's never had a big squad. We've always had under Pep one of the smallest squads in the Premier League.
Agreed. However, even a lot of our fan base are like, we need a bigger squad, and Pep's pretty much saying, don't need a bigger. If you give me a bigger squad, and it's a bigger squad means he's going to have to leave players out, out of the squad, completely. He doesn't want to do that, because I understand what he's saying. So are we almost looking, or not having as much bad luck next season with injuries and going with a 20. I don't even think he wants a 25-man squad by the sounds of it.
But that's his average, to be fair. And I think, as soon as the words quit or leave are mentioned in any interview, that's what people pick up on. They don't pick up on the context of how he said it. And so I don't think there's any issue. But I don't think we'll have a big squad next season. That's purely because that's the way Pep likes to play it, because he doesn't like leaving people out. And unfortunately, there's always going to be players that are upset at not Thankfully, we've not had anybody coming out moaning about the amount of game time they're getting or not getting. But Pep knows what he's doing. We have to trust him. He's not let us down yet. And people who might, we've got people that will think differently to me, and that's okay. But even this season, as bad as it's supposedly been, we've still achieved quite a lot. When you look at the run we had between October and November, I think we went 13 games without a win. And yet we still finished in third place. We got to an FA Cup final and we're guaranteed for the 15th successive year Champions League football.
Yeah.
Any other club, that's a huge achievement.
Say that again, Stan.
I forgot to mention that. You're right there, Anne-Marie. No, she's right, Anne-Marie. I forgot to mention that because I said something similar after the match in the group. If we'd have won just 2 of those games, we'd have been above Arsenal. That's how unbelievably bad we've been, and how unbelievably out of context our season's been. The 1,001 reasons that you could blame on it. He doesn't like a big squad. He's always said he doesn't like a big squad. We have had an extraordinary amount of injuries. Do we think that'll happen again? You'd have to say, on the balance of probabilities, no. Can you be sure of that? No, you can't. It's going to be there in the back of your mind, isn't it? A bit like when you do your knee. Once you've done your knee, it's always going to be there in the back of your mind that it might happen again. It's, I don't know. I don't think it's been below standard for us. But our standard is so high. It'd be unbelievable. Look what's happening with Palace there. They won all that. They won the FA Cup. Fair enough. Not got in Champions League and they're not finishing in the top 3. If somebody like that did what we did, never hear the end of it.
I think it's important to remember that as well, Paddy. And again, every team has injuries, etc., etc. However, it's been unprecedented at how many injuries we've had, and for us to finish in a Champions League spot, let alone 3 points behind Arsenal, who are deemed as having another good season. It bodes well for next season, because I'd like to think we won't be in a position like we've had this season, where the amount of injuries we've had, and not just the amount of injuries, it's been the key injuries as well, to obviously it's well documented Rodri, but even at the start of the season, we was looking at even Ortega starting the season as the number 1. Now, he didn't, because even he was injured for a number of weeks at the start of the season. And it's Stones, Akanji, Ake, Gvardiol was out for a little bit. Bernardo playing through pain-killing injuries. Diaz was out. The list goes on and on. Haaland's been out. Obviously, De Bruyne has been out. Foden, for various things, has been out. And for us to get our stuff together and finish 3rd, that is a decent season, mate.
Oh, absolutely. Without a shadow of a doubt. But again, the metrics they measure against also what they use to kind of judge us are completely different compared to anyone else. In reference to Pep's comment about he'd go with Man City, have a big squad. He's clarified them comments. He's come out and he said that he's only joking, that he was only having a laugh. But on the other side of it, like he's left McAtee, Husanoff, Greedy, Lewis at home today. Like if everyone was available for selection, there's probably about 8, 9, 10 players getting left at home. So there's going to be, I know I'm jumping on a bit here, but there's going to be a lot of players, well not a lot, but at least 3 or 4, that are going to have to go to make room for incoming players because that squad is big already.
It is, and that's why I think we will see. If you want, we can discuss, who we think will go, whether we want the players to go or not. It's who we think we want to go, not who we want to go. So there will be a difference in that. But even injuries, who had a great pre-season last season?
Oscar Bob.
Oscar Bob, yeah.
Oscar Bob's missed the season. So it's I say little things like that. It's big things there because Oscar Bob alone can play right across the front, where it's left, right, straight down the middle. And you don't understand how versatile some of these players are. And if we would have, I know if my auntie had bollocks and stuff like been my uncle, but they are key factors. So now the dust has settled on the Premier League season, I think it's time for reflection because there's been too much hysteria from a lot of fans. They've not fully understood, in my opinion, that what we've had to go through, it's a pretty successful season. And there's been
you watched the same match as I did on the same channel, and you obviously heard the comment about John Stones. He played 6 matches in the Premier League for Man City this season.
Mm-hmm.
He's an out-and-out top-class centre-back, and he has started 6 matches out of a possible 38.
Mm-hmm.
And then you have the Ballon d'Or winner in the middle of your team, the spine of your team missing. Forget about the rest of them. Take a fairly world-class centre-back, which John Stones is, without a shadow of a doubt, and take out your Ballon d'Or winner. That's going to affect most teams, never mind the additional extras that we had. Like we had no defenders at one stage.
And even keeper wise, we saw Scott Carson on the bench, and Scott Carson is not with us to be on the bench or play. He's there as people, whether it's some people deem it as wasted money or not. People like Scott Carson are instrumental with them players. What he gives them. So I think it's money well spent what we give the likes of Scott Carson. Kathy says Pep doesn't want extras that won't even get on the bench, probably. Yeah, and again, I think it has been blown out of proportion what Pep did say. But I can see his squad getting lower. They sort of like also rans, if you want to call them that, will depart, and we'll have quality over quantity, if that makes sense.
How many can you name on the bench, out of curiosity?
Not sure.
Is it 7?
So one of them.
It was more than we could. It was more than we could name as a squad for a while, Paddy.
Yeah,
I'm gonna say, just want to read this out from FIFA. Listen, mate, I'm absolutely honoured. You know I'm always there, and we're always there for you, pal. Just wanted to say thank you for a great shows and helping me because I'm living life from last year. As you know, I just wanted to say thanks, Andy. You saved my life. Appreciate you all, mate. Always here. You don't have to chip in with a super chat. We're not a channel for super chats, but we absolutely appreciate you joining us and the way you link our show out and stuff like that, mate. Honestly, very much appreciated, mate.
Yeah.
SOS says we've won more games in the league than Arsenal. No, and it's fact. It's absolute fact. So should we get into some nitty gritty? You think who we think will go, not who we want to go. In the chat, give us who you think will go and not who you want to go in the summer. And don't forget, the transfer window opens, is it the 1st of June for 8-9 days?
World Cup, yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
I don't go through each position, Andy. Would that be a better way of doing it? Each position.
Well, I've done myself a little list there.
Hey, we might get a chance of getting Ronaldo in.
I'll tell you what's interesting, though. Every captain we have seems to leave at the end of the season.
Dun, dun, dun.
I wonder whether Pep's going to give the armband to Doku next season. I'm only joking. Look at I was joking.
Well, start with the two goalkeepers. I would be happy for the two goalkeepers we have, Ortega and Ederson. I would be happy going the next season with them two.
I've actually, despite what I've just said about Scott Carson, I think he'll still remain at the club, but not on the backup keeper side. I've also got, and tell me if you think I'm wrong on any of these. And again, it's players who I think will go, not who I don't want, not who I want to go. I think Jack will go. I think Pep's made that pretty clear in his interview post-match. Sadly, I think Edison will go. I think Edison's played his I wouldn't say his last match for us, but I think
he wants to go, or we want him to go.
I don't want him to go. Yeah, I just think if the offer's right, then what's he got? One year left on his contract.
That I can't keep my head around why Ederson would want to leave that team.
Don't know, mate. Don't know. I'm just telling you. I think McAtee's gone. I think McAtee will go. Sadly, I think Cover will go.
Kovacic?
Yep. And do you know something? We've praised Nunes earlier. I think Kovacic has been, I think, arguably our player of the season, Kovacic.
No. Guardiola.
No. I tell you what, Kovacic is in with a shout. Is in the conversation, in my opinion. But
Well, I don't think he even got in the last three.
Last three what?
For the player of the season.
But
You
we're on
can
about
vote
this
for it.
season. But
Yeah, I'm on about this season. You can vote for it at the minute.
I think a little bit of respect needs to be laid on to Cover, because he's more or less with the injuries what we have had, he's been there, and he's been sort of like pulling us through by the bootlaces. Phillips, I think, will finally go back to Leeds. You ready for this one? And it's been off the radar a little bit, but I think Bernardo will go as well.
I think Bernardo will stay another year.
No, listen, I hope he does. And that'll be on top of Walker and KDB, who've already departed. Have you got any different ones than what's on my little list there?
Stones.
Why? No, just out of curiosity.
Because we can't keep him fit. So at this moment in time, he's of no use to the team. He's spending more time out injured than he is actually playing. He's more likely to go and play for England and play 2 games in a row and then come back to us injured. We don't need that.
Let me ask you a question then. He's still under, I think, a two-year contract with us. Considering his injury woes, if you was a club, would you want to sign John Stones? We know his class.
No.
So maybe nobody will come in for him to pay decent transfer fee plus decent wages, not knowing whether he's going to be injured or not. I don't think clubs.
No, but at this moment in time, Andy, in all honesty, can you say he's a valuable member of our squad?
No.
What we've seen from him.
No, he's not. But I'm just trying to think, like, as a chairman or a manager of an opposition club, would I want to take my chance on John Stones? No, I'd want to put my money somewhere else, even though John Stones is class on his day when he's playing.
Don't forget you have Hayes and Husanov in the John Stones position, who were bought in January.
But Paddy, that's not what I'm saying. I'm saying how would we offload him? I get we've got defenders who can cover in that position, because even Aki can play in that position. We've seen that. But what I'm saying is, how would we offload him as a club?
Oh, I know that, and Kevin De Bruyne raised the very same point about playing for Man City, the World Cup. If he gets injured, what club is going to buy him and take care of him? So I get what you're saying. Like, if you were a chairman or a sporting director, would you be, even if you got a deal, even if you got him on a free, and he was on 200 or 300 grand a week, would you be cautious around signing John Stones unless you signed him on a pay-as-you-play deal?
But why would John Stones want to leave to go somewhere to be, when he's on a lucrative contract, to go and play somewhere on a pay-as-you-play deal when he knows himself is injury prone?
Well, I suppose like players want to play, Andy. That's their job, that's their goal, that's what they want to do, and they can't keep playing at the club they're at. They normally leave, Let me ask you a question then, Paddy. You're on a lucrative contract. You've still got a couple of seasons left on your contract. You're on a lucrative wage, and I turn around to you and say, Paddy, we want to rip your contracts up pretty much, but say Spurs are coming for you on a pay-as-you-play deal. What would you say to me? Well, the obvious answer is no, but going back to my point where players don't want to stay where they're not wanted, like if any of us in the 4 jobs that we have were sent to Coventry, the department we didn't want to be in, and told you're staying there for the next 2 years, you jack up and leave. John Stones is not going to be any different. Yeah, he's going to be on big money, but he's not going to be anywhere near the team.
But I think it's, and again, I'm not saying I want John Stones to leave. I'm just looking at it. I'm throwing, as I always do, the devil's advocate out there. So that was my reasoning behind that questioning, Anne-Marie. Who else have you got?
Who else have I got? I've got pretty much the same as yourself. I think Edison or Ortega, one of them will go this summer. Jack's gone. McAtee, Phillips, Walker, and they're the main ones I see going at the end of the season. But it'll be interesting to see who we bring in, and it's an interesting one, isn't it? That we were in the running for Wirtz, weren't we? And yet the deal sounded like it was going to end up costing us £250 million, which is stupid money for anyone.
It's only 2 years' salary for you.
I wish. And yet now we're here, Liverpool are after him, and it's only going to cost them £150 million.
He won't go. That's his agent. It's quite clear Wirtz will end up at Bayern Munich or Real Madrid, because Alonso's going to be he's the new Real Madrid manager. Just a point what Elliot's making there, that away end today, unbelievable. As always, our away support is unbelievable. But today, and again, it was a little bit emotional when KDB went over at the end. I just thought, that's it. Because he won't play in the Club World Cup, even though he's contracted for the first 2 games, I think. But the away end again, they should be players of the season. The away end this season, they've been brilliant. Considering.
But full credit for the atmosphere on Tuesday night as well.
I thought it was brilliant. Yeah,
it was a brilliant atmosphere on Tuesday night.
Mm-hmm.
That's because the armchair plastics were there.
Yeah, but you've turned the volume up, Paddy.
Are you 2 back to that next season?
I just renewed my season ticket. I bought batteries today.
Duracell. See, we will be keeping a copper-coloured top, although it's not KDB.
We only are brought out, Andy, when we're in the brown stuff. Otherwise, we take a back seat and leave it after us. But when going gets tough, myself and Stan will appear. It's the 983.
I'm not kidding. Alexa on my watch has just said, I can't understand what you're saying.
I tell you, when the going got tough, the armchair lads were there and got us through that. You know that, Andy. You saw the effect the players had when they realised there was lads up there who'd come out of retirement to watch them.
Well, I'll give you that. You are old enough to have been in retirement. I'll give you that. Thank you to Martin. 22 months as a member, you madman. Thanks all the same. FIFA says Grealish. Sadly, I think it is the end for Grealish. Would we agree on that?
Yeah.
No, I think you're nuts. I think you're nuts. I think there's only two.
You don't think he's going anywhere, Paddy?
I think there's 2 players coming in this season. There's going to be a specialised right back and somebody for the midfield, and the rest, the majority of them players are staying.
A specialised right back. Okay, then. And I get Nunes is not. I'd like to see Nunes get a bit of a crack in his natural position.
Well, like if you say I'm right, we bring in a specialised right back, right? Yes, Nunes is going to provide cover for that. But like, look how many midfielders or wingers, whatever you want to call them, the midfield is going to be ram-packed.
Mm-hmm.
Like you have the Moose and Haaland up front. You'll have your 5 or 6 defenders.
Who up front?
No, Omar.
And just a big shout out! What a goal he scored on Tuesday night.
Oh my Jesus!
It was 2 goals like that. I don't know about yous. When Marmouche hit that and it went in, not many people at the side of me jumped up cheering. It was just pretty much, wow. It was a wow. And Nico's goal as well, Nico Gonzalez. I thought he took that brilliantly as well.
Yeah.
But it's so. Come on, Paddy. Who do you think will depart? Because you keep saying I'm nuts.
Well, like, okay, to use your own analogy, who's buying Jack Grealish?
I think plenty of clubs would want to buy Jack Grealish.
On the money he's on at ours.
But it don't necessarily mean he will stay on that money wherever he goes. If he goes.
But Jack Grealish has many years left in his contract. To use your own analogy, your John Stones analogy, why would Jack Grealish say, "Oh, I'm off to Newcastle" or "I'm off to Aston Villa"?
Well, it wouldn't be on a pay-as-you-play like you said, would it? Jack Grealish he's got a contract. If any club signs Jack, they'll be getting a top player, mate.
Oh, absolutely. But why would he take a pay cut? Why would he leave?
How do you know he'll take a pay cut? Newcastle, if it use Newcastle can afford it.
Newcastle were struggling with financial fair play there 6 months ago.
Mm-hmm.
So we were on about buying your man.
Well, there's talk we're after Livramento, isn't there?
Yeah.
So maybe there's some kind of a swap deal can be done.
Swap? Fucking Jack Grealish is 10 times the player he is.
Yeah, but there'd have to be money involved in it as well. You know that.
Like FIFA's put, it'd keep them all. Do you know something, mate? I would, but just top up. Just refresh it. I think the likes of McAtee will go. Phillips will go, even if it's another season loan back to Leeds. And again, I wish him well, because he's not been the player what we thought we was getting.
No, he's gone on a permanent basis, and it hasn't worked out for him, and it's not going to work out for him.
But
Like
You've
if we kept all the players, right? Like I do think McAtee will go all right. But say if we kept the rest of them, Rico Lewis and Nunes and Rodri, all of them, right? Bar the ones that are definitely going. How many people would be in that squad? How many players?
you know, Bella says Grealish, Doku, Savio.
They go.
What's your opinion, Paddy? Who do you think will go? You're not answered yet.
I can't see that many going, Andy, to be honest with you.
Well,
I really can't.
Pep's indicated in post-match that he can't see a lot coming in. Now, believe that or not, because if he's talking about Jack, it's up to Jack whether he wants to stay or go. I'm sure conversations will be had. We definitely need to replace KDB. And let's not forget as well, is the heir to the throne Echeverri? Everyone talks about Phil Foden, but Phil Foden can play. He's an asset anywhere, Phil Foden. But I think just to use a specialised position, or is it Mamouche? You know, because I don't really like seeing Mamouche play left or right. I think he's more effective down that middle. And I can also see next season us lumping the ball a little bit more up, like we did against Bournemouth, to where Haaland will hold it up and Mamouche run off him for the knockdowns. Bit like the old Quinny days.
God only knows what fucking Pep has conjured up for next season. But I think Kevin De Bruyne will get replaced, and I think Walker's getting replaced, and I'd say that's it.
I'd say with Walker, because there was talk that AC Milan wouldn't sort of like offer him a deal, but I see that he's in the all the posters for next year's kit, so I think that's a good sign that they will keep him. And again, I wish Kyle Walker well. I just
I don't know about that, mate. Whenever you used to buy a calendar as a kid, the first January and February had always been sold by the time the calendars come out. So I'm not sure official merchandise is a good barometer.
Yeah, because it's like saying Jack's been pictured all over the place in our new kit.
possibly just saying. Looks like Rain Days is coming in as well from AC. He might be a Christmas signing though. Martin says KDB, Jack, McAtee, Kovacic, Rico, loan. Reese, loan, one keeper. It's not far off what I think, mate.
Nah, you don't bring Hayes in, you put him straight back out.
Well, why not?
We've done it with plenty of others in the past.
No, he's ready.
Don't forget Maximo Peroni as well. It looks like he'll be departing. He came in highly rated and he was going to be playing all the games. Didn't work out. You don't truly know what
he came in from being out on loan, Andy. Hayes has been bought straight to come into that team.
Tell you what,
not just the
something else. Sorry, he's not been mentioned. And I think he'll go. Kyle Walker. Remember where you've heard this bombshell?
And see, he's upgraded his Wi-Fi. He's catching up.
I was going to say, Stan, what are you drinking, mate?
Nothing. We're talking about players who'll leave. He's still a Man City player and he'll leave.
I know, and I think we said that 20 minutes ago.
We said it about 25 million times.
Kyle Walker?
Yeah.
No, you didn't.
We've just this second talked about him being photoed in the new AC Milan kit.
That was Jack Grealish.
Oh man!
Oh, it's been a
I love
it's been
you,
a
Stan.
long season, I'll tell you that.
Kayaki, do you think he'll stay?
Who? Ake.
Kayaki. We're into the world of players we've got on loan that we can still get a fee for.
Well,
There'll be about 30 players going.
Well, the official squad is Carson, Edison, Ortega, Akanji, Ake, Diaz, Guardiol, Kushinov, Lewis, Reese, Stones, Walker, Wilson, Esbrand. This is the official squad, by the way.
Mm-hmm.
Oscar Bob, KDB, Doku, Echeverri, Foden, Grealish, Gundogan, Kovacic, McAtee, Nico, Nunes, O'Reilly, Perone, Phillips, Rodri, Savio, Bernardo, Marmouche, and Haaland. Now, how many is that? 3, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 13. That's 32 players.
Jesus.
There you go.
That's 32 players. And apparently we've not got a big squad.
So you could get rid of the 7 of them and we're still on the 25 mark.
Stan,
Yeah,
do you think Walker will go?
I don't know. Touch and go, but I think from what he's been doing off the pitch, it could well result in him moving on. Yes, mate. I think Ortega might go as well.
He says no Andek Gvardiol is our player of the year. Yeah, he, in my opinion, he is. I'm just saying Kovacic, for me, has also got to be in the conversation. Mine says
10 games. Yes,
Gvardiol, Kovacic, even Nunes as a shout for me.
That 2 clowns talking when they bring Kovacic into the conversation.
What?
When Kovacic comes into the conversation, would that be 2 clowns talking?
Have you been drinking today?
No, I'm just asking you a question.
Jesus Christ. Martin, I think Bernardo and Stones get the KDB goodbye next season. Possibly, as I say, they're on lucrative contracts, but who knows? DC says Stones stays. I agree, but I think that'll be more down to the financial things, like I said earlier, rather than because I know Pep loves Stones, but also Pep did say a few weeks ago that players need to be playing and being fit to contribute, which is right. Good evening, Laura. Cover to go. McAtee, keep Jack and Stones. I'd be gutted if Jack went, And
what about that? But you keep on banging on about Andy about the English quota, homegrown players. Do we need to keep Jack for that?
Pep's not just going to keep somebody like Jack Grealish, a £100 million player, just because he's English, mate.
Yeah, but for you have to have the homegrown quota in your team, don't you?
Of course you do. Yeah.
Right.
That's not a bad team, that Steve Black. It's a decent team, that.
What's that?
The players going under Steve Black. It's not a bad team.
Mundo, Ake, Edison, Ortega, Pusic, Nunes, Walker, KDB, McAtee, and Doku. Do you think there'll be a mass clear up?
Sorry to disappoint you. Gundo's going nowhere because he's just signed a 1-year extension.
Yeah. And Pusic just got player of the season. He's not even in the first team.
No, but don't mean to say if somebody comes in for them, Paddy, that Pep will go, yeah, it's a decent deal, i.e. Cole Palmer.
But if you're saying there's 33 players in that team, there's going to be more outgoings than I thought.
Yeah,
I tell you what, hasn't he kicked off Cole Palmer? Don't hear people raving about him now and saying how Chelsea ripped City off.
Cole Palmer will come good again for him. He really will. Keith says, can't afford Stones' wages for the time he can. Yeah, for the time he can play. You know, he will stay Stones. I don't see Stones moving anywhere. SOS can't see anyone buying Stones. Agree, he'll go next year when he's out of contract. He has a season left in him, and he's fantastic. Totally agree, Laura. But is it you who threw the stat a number of weeks ago, Stan, where he said he's only played something like the maximum 25 games for us a season?
Yeah.
But that's in all competitions.
That's crazy, isn't it? Considering how long's it been with us? About 8 years.
I can tell you something, Ali, and I think this is to you before we come on. The coldness of that club. They say the absolute legend of the club 5-6 weeks ago, you're out of here. So it wouldn't, especially now that uses there's 32 players in that squad, that there wouldn't be a hatchet taken to that team. And Stones could go, Aki could go.
I wouldn't want Aki to go, you know. I like Aki. I think he's got a lot to offer, you know, because, and I'll always respect him from when we had Laporte. Aki got in, then he got injured, then Laporte got in, and then Aki was just waiting and waiting and waiting, got in ahead of Laporte, and Laporte didn't have the backbone to fight for his place back, in my opinion. But so I'll always respect Aki for that, you know, not throwing his toys out of the pram, because he could have gone back to Chelsea. I think Newcastle, he was on the verge of signing for Newcastle, and Pep didn't want him to go, and rightly so. Michael says, evening all, players to go: Edison, Ortega, McAtee, Wilson Esbrand, Grealish, Walker, KDB, Simpson, Pusey, Phillips, and Nunes. Yeah, you've got and again, you know, out of that squad, Paddy, in that squad, you've got Scott Carson, who doesn't obviously play. Then you've got the likes of Wilson Esbrand,
But he's not a registered first team player.
Yeah, and you've got, in that squad, you've got Phillips and Peroni. You know, so it's, although there was what did I say, 32, it's probably about 28 there. It's about 28. But I think Martin picked up on it about Rico on a loan. If we wouldn't have had that many injuries this season, I don't think Rico would have got much game time.
No. And look, he's a great wee player, and he'd definitely make a living in the game. But is he going to succeed at Man City? I don't think so.
It comes down to head and heart, that one, Stan, doesn't it?
Yeah, they're just looking at this day now. He's had about 3 times the playing time of John Stones. To put it into perspective, the amount of minutes John Stones has played this year, he's had 6 starts. And the 2 players around him are Nico O'Reilly and Kushinov for minutes played. He's really, really just minimal. And I think people are right that Stones will go next year when his contract's expired.
Yeah, I tend to agree. It'll be next season.
I don't know if he can get a choice, Stan. I think the club might be having conversations with him, start looking for another team.
Well, they might do, and if a club comes in and pays money for him, fair enough, that's up to them. But
what age is he?
Too many clubs that are a bit smarter than that. The sort of club that would come in for him would be somebody like a team that's got zero direction and shit for brains running the place. So there is a chance he might.
That's United coming in for him.
Well, that was who I was thinking of. That's where I was going. But I think even Stones is clever enough to avoid that particular one.
So do you tend to agree with me, Stan, that at the end of the day, Stones is in pole position what he wants to do, because he's not just going to move on like Paddy said off his head. You know, he'll go up from a lucrative contract to a pay as you play deal somewhere. It's never going to happen.
No,
unless we pay his contract up, which we're not going to do.
If he went somewhere on a pay per play, it'd be out of money. It's the petrol fee that cost him more. getting to the training and back. So I can't see that happening. Why would you want to do that anyway when you've got another year?
How many defenders are we going to have? Like,
It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter, mate.
97. It doesn't matter at the end of the day because he'll only play so many. And I don't know. You might not even put him in the squads for some of the cup competitions.
Stan, do you think Walker will leave?
I don't know. We were talking about it earlier, and I think he will go. Just keep it under your hat.
That's your nose.
Yeah, he's under me fucking hat.
DC, so good.
Where do you put your hat?
I don't wear one.
No. Right, go on.
DC,
frozen.
I think we all are going over KDB, and I still think Amory he did not want to go.
Oh, he didn't. No.
No, he didn't. But I don't know whether I'm getting harsh in my old age or what it is, but we've gone past sentiment with the club. The club have moved past that now. We made that mistake with, if you think about you remember the game against Aston Villa, the last game of the season, and we needed to win. And Pep it was Fernandinho's last game for us. And Pep picked him and played him as like a right back. And we got torn apart in the first half. And he ended up having to sub Fernandinho off at half time. And that playing him at all in that game was purely based on sentiment. And I think now we're in a place where the sentiment's gone. So that won't be happening. That is why.
How about loyalty then? How about loyalty? Because KDB's been loyal to us in the respect of even playing through injury, even in his own saying that he's played through a hernia. He's not been at his best, and all of a sudden he's fully fit and we go in see you.
Yeah, but it's like I'm saying, Andy, there's no sentiment. It doesn't matter. You can't look at and say, it's like Aguero.
Aguero still had a lot to offer.
Exactly. But where was there was no offer for him either, was there?
No, I get what you say. I get what you're saying. There was no offer for him because even Sergio's turned around and said that he wanted to stay. He wasn't asked about going to Barcelona, but he went to Barcelona because it was an easy option for him.
Yeah, and what happened to him there?
Yeah, you can't say that's what happened to him there. He nearly died, and that's.
Yeah, I know, but this is the whole thing. There is no sentiment anymore, Andy. So these players, and if we're all, as much as we love Kevin, I love Bernardo, but for me, Bernardo his time is pretty much up, I would say. But Kevin, I love watching Kevin play. There isn't anybody as skillful as Kevin. But the reality is what we've been seeing for the last 12 months, or probably more, is not the Kevin that we signed 10 years ago. And that's not just an age thing, it's an injury thing. And we have to accept that when a player's time is up with a club, it's up. That's as harsh as it is.
And that's your question then. You was there on Tuesday, weren't you?
Yeah.
All the tributes to KDB on the board. And one of them was
Mahrez.
Did you cheer?
No.
Anne-Marie, I know you love me.
You sure?
I'm bloody positive.
All the cheering seemed to come from the library at the Colin Bell stand.
Well, it bloody didn't.
I said to Paddy, like a plane taking off when Mahrez came up. The noise that came over.
Okay, panel, raise your hands if you think Anne-Marie cheered when Mahrez come on. Raise your hand, Anne-Marie.
No, because I didn't, and I wouldn't.
Say without smiling.
I didn't cheer.
Without smiling, I said.
I didn't cheer when Mahrez came on screen. Thank you.
I think that's pretty poor.
Keith says there is so much good to look forward to without any new signing. Echeverri playing again today. Yeah, proves Pep has a lot of confidence in him. Yeah, there was rumours that he would be going out on loan next season. I can't see Pep, putting him out on loan because it looks as if. And again, I think it's you who said this, Stan. You seem like the grand master of knowledge sometimes, because there's certain things what stick in my mind about the news. Okay.
No, I'm just laughing because you've got to remember, you've got to go 10 minutes back to remember what I'd said about the conversation you were talking about. But go on.
I want on about tonight.
No, it's happened. It happens all the time, mate. I won't worry about it.
It's like the signings what came in January,
Mm-hmm.
and we're looking, and Kushinoff and Reece, they're not getting even in the squad at the minute. So people, I'm not just saying City fans, but even the media, they think, they're going to be pissed off. Nico Gonzalez won't get in any game time, really. People seem to think that these players would be pissed off. Now, for me, there's different factors in it. There's a language situation where they're new to the club, they're young. The likes of Kushinoff doesn't speak a word of English. I don't know about the other two. No. So they'll be in the stand. Pep will say, right, I want you to watch in the stand. They'll say to Nico, for instance, I want you to just watch Rodri or Kovacic or whatever. He'll say to Kushinoff, I want you to watch either Gvardiol or Diaz, what they do. So when you get your chance, that is exactly what I want you to do. So they'll be sat in the stand with education. It won't just be sat there twiddling on playing Super Mario on the little phone out, will they?
No, and that's what that's what you're expected to do if you're on the bench. Come on, if you can see something that's not working, and the boss called you over and says, right, I want you to come on, and he says something, and you're saying, well, tell you what, I'll be honest with you, I've seen something there that's not working. He'll listen and he'll do it. He'll want to see who's awake, and they're all awake. But the thing with Echeverri is he'll do all right with Pep because we now play with teams with like a 7 players in a deep or defending very, very low. You now need players who can work in very tight spaces, and Echeverri can do that. And I think that's why I like it there. But he'll come up now. It's going to be another little problem because if you've got Marmoush running onto Ireland holding up the ball, you're going to be playing just behind Ireland. You're going to be playing Marmoush, you're going to be playing Foden, or you're going to be playing Cover.
Go on, Paddy, I'll let you read that one.
I do like that. Well said, Keith.
Go on, Paddy.
Looks like we're getting a reindeer to play with Moose. As regards Chevy going out on loan, that's not going to happen because where he came from, River Plate, wanted to keep him for another 12 months, and Pep says, no, he's coming.
Yeah.
So he's not going anywhere.
Do you know what? I love that. Mancunian way they're leaving before the end. You're at home, mate. You don't have to go 15 minutes.
Stan, be respectful. Mine
you
says,
told me to say that.
Now, come on, Stan. No. Thanks for all the amazing shows.
No, you're a good lad, Martin.
Well, Stan, you should respect that he's actually put a super chat in there for that, mate.
No, I'll be honest with you. I only say it, Martin, because we like you. If we didn't like you, I won't bother talking about it.
Bloody, can I read it or what?
No.
Tenerife is calling. See you all soon. Thank you all on panel. City till we die. Have a great break, mate, and get fully refreshed.
Just out of interest, did we get paid during the summer holidays?
No, you're on the COVID payment.
You're getting paid off Jim Radcliffe.
I'm out of the job then.
He fucking wouldn't pay attention.
You know, it's amazing, isn't it? Jim Radcliffe, he's not got rid of that Mark Goldfish, has he? You'd think he'd be sacking everybody. He's not having it. He won't do it.
Oh, dear.
Oh no, and just for Wednesday night.
Manchester United.
Where's your fucking banner now?
Yeah.
100%.
I never thought I'd see myself cheering a Spurs win.
Exactly. Blew out a proper toe bung that shot from Marmouche. It was like a heat seeker missile. I didn't think when he hit it, you just get the feeling sometimes, don't you, when a player hits a ball that it's just gonna go straight in the net.
There was a delayed reaction in that run, Andy.
Mhm.
It took about a second or two to register, and he actually scored.
Yeah, there was, and it was interesting that every time they played the replay of the goal, there was a massive cheer as if people were watching it for the first time.
Yeah, I think most of them were, because I've got to admit, there was two things that went through my mind. When that ball went flying and you could see it was moving in the air, it hit the post and come in. And I wasn't quite sure which way it'd gone, and it just took half a second for it to register. And there was nowhere where me and Paddy was sat, you could see that was going in. Andy, on the other hand, was sat right behind that, and you must have seen that flying in. You know, the minute it's left his boot, that was going straight in.
It just, and again, the reaction was just like,
Yeah,
wow, rather than just a cheer. And to be fair, it was the same with Nico's, mate. When he hit that, you just seen the curve of it going. I thought, oh, this has got a chance. This.
Yeah, you see, you can't when you're watching on the side, you can't see them curves. So again, that was another delayed reaction because nobody was quite sure, and boom, and it goes. Fantastic. But I tell you what, all three of them goals were good. You know, even the little technique and the work again in a tight space for the second goal.
Them goals were scored on Tuesday. Have you only just seen them now?
No, I was there, mate.
Delayed reaction.
No, I've seen them. I did see them.
I'll let you read that one.
After seeing Jack's eyes going into Kev's leaving do, Jack is off all right. Pep won't take that sort of behaviour, and as shown by his non-selection today.
What did you just say then?
Do you know what? Can I say something like that? It really fucking pissed me off actually when I seen that. Do you know every player that was at that match or that do Kevin De Bruyne's do? There's no other player was highlighted about what time they left that do. Only Jack Grealish. And it fucking bugs the life out of me that the hassle that Jack Grealish gets off the media and our moron fans repeat it. Leave Jack Grealish alone.
100%, my friend. Totally with you. And it pissed me off a little bit because the media jumps on it and it's like, hang on. In a newspaper or online paper now, you can put whatever you want on there and make it believable. Like you've even got
Jack Grealish left at 1:30 and somebody left at 1:15. What's the difference? But nobody else is splashed all over the back page.
And let's not forget, our manager was there.
Yeah.
Yeah, he went on his bike.
Well, the thing is, it's not as if they've all gone to a secret venue and they've been outed for going for a beer and stuff. It was a leaving do. They had a few days off, and there's nothing up with it. There's absolutely nothing. But I agree with you, Paddy. He's just being sort of like
torture.
Yeah, it is. But do you know
torture? Another Paul Gascoigne.
Do you know something, though, mate? He still won't be able to play for Ireland for you.
Kissed the badge, but didn't he? Kissed the badge, dirty rat.
See, you're slaughtering him now.
Yeah, lay off Jack Grealish there, you horrible man.
Well, it says I can only see Doku and Savinio staying personally. I don't think he'll get rid of Doku. Or as a good friend of mine calls him, speedboat without a driver. Is the cause for that? I think so. But
And I'd say that's two of the safest players in the squad. They're not going anywhere.
I was going to say, if you're going to name two players that are staying, I would have named them two.
Yeah, I can't see that, but I'm looking forward to seeing Echeverri to be. Oh, hey, Blue Heart says I'm a bit shocked by what has happened to Phil. Echeverri could fill in for Phil. Sad, but for some reason I don't see us ever seeing the old Phil return. I do, mate. I can see Phil coming back because I think what's a pivotal statement. Phil's actually come out last week. I don't mean he's come out. You know what I mean? With a statement saying that he's mentally drained and everything. He needs to rest this summer. So what we should do as a club is say, you're not going to the Club World Cup. What are you going to do? You're not going on international duty or anything like that. You're just going to go and get a long break with your family, with whatever help you need. And if FIFA turn around and try to fine us for not taking our best players, just out FIFA saying, listen, he's already said what he's going through mentally and stuff, but you're fining the club for trying to force us to send out, one of our players there.
And we're trying to look after his well-being.
But Pep has already said that he's not going to the international duty because of his ankle, that he will have time off. So Phil Foden...
Well, he's not been called up, has he?
But they told the English camp not to call him up because he wasn't coming. Because his ankle is actually injured. He's playing through pain, which a lot of people don't understand. So Foden is going to be used sparingly during that World Club if he's used at all, and he'd be fighting fit for next year. Never mind the physical battles that he's had this season, the off-field mental health problems that young fella has had, and he is a young fella. He's only at 24 or 23. Yes, he's around 6 or 7 years, but like your mental health is your mental health.
Absolutely.
I don't care how much money you're on.
Mm-hmm. And you're absolutely right, Paddy, because mental health it don't go. Oh, I'm just going to start affecting people who've not got any money. I'm not going to get talented people and stuff like that. You've only got to look at the people like Robin Williams and stuff like that who suffered. And he was probably one of the most talented actors I've seen and funniest actors I've seen. It just affects you.
Even Andy, that statement I put up in our group with Kevin De Bruyne about what happened in his personal life, and people says, yeah, he reared up a Pep, whatever. Sir, his life was in turmoil at that stage.
Mm-hmm.
And he was playing through pain and playing through a very heightened state of emotions. People don't get it. People just think, oh, you put on that sky blue shirt, cross that line, and you're fucking invincible. That everyday life doesn't affect you. Really?
No, it does. Anne-Marie, do you think Phil will come back if we look after him right, and even the media look after him right?
I think so. And I think, as with all these things, we have to do our own bit to help ourselves. And he needs to be a bit more clued up, or get his family more clued up as to what they can and can't do, because that's having a massive impact on him.
I don't think it's his family. I think it's a combination of his mental well-being, injuries, the amount of games what he's played. He's out of the back of the internationals and stuff like that. He's had to come straight into the season. Just because he's young, I'm not pointing this at you, by the way, Anne-Marie. Some people seem to think that, he's only 24. He should be able to play four Premier League matches a day, and he's on so much money. The more, and in my opinion, there is too much football. There really is, and it's got to be looked at, because even just before Rodri's injury, he actually was calling out saying there's too much football. We all love football, but it's getting to the point now where it's being diluted. The quality of it's being diluted because it's too much football.
I know, but you even need to look, and we all have our little niggles about kickoff times and whatever else, and you can see exactly where we're going. So Sky next season are going to be showing something like 215 live games. So that means there's 215 games where the kickoff time or the day of the game is going to be messed around with just purely for television. And we're back to that, no thought again for the fans and things like that. Like sending City down to Southampton on a Monday night or to, London for an 8 o'clock kickoff on a Monday night, and fans have to get back. So it's just one of those. It's crazy, but that's where we're at, and there's no thought given to anybody. And there is too much football. I mean, this Club World Cup thing, it's an absolute joke. Yes, it's going to make money for the clubs that are involved in it. It's going to make money for FIFA or UEFA or whichever one it is. But for the good of the players, that's not taken into account at all. It's an absolute farce.
Yeah, it is. I tell you what, I'm just reading through some of the comments. It's really, honestly, it's really good to see that a lot of people are backing Núñez.
Yeah.
I really am. It's
that thing with Foden though, Andy. What I'd do is I'd just tell him to clear off for 6 weeks, go fishing, and take about 6 or 7 people. Just go anywhere you want in the world, clear off, forget about football, forget about everything. But I'm guessing here, but we don't actually know. There could be something wrong with one of his kids or something like that. There's anything. You get family problems. He may be worried about one of his children. He may be worried about anyone. His man, doesn't matter. Like you say, though, these mental issues affect people. Your pay is irrelevant. It will strike anyone at any time. And it's a horrible, horrible thing to have to go through.
Yeah. FIFA, that's not true. Aguero knew that Messi was going to PSG, mate, on that season. It's not why he wanted to go to Barca. But yeah, it's a difficult one for me with the Phil Foden one. Now, has it just been a season where some fans have just got on his, and I don't mean just City fans, by the way, because I think Phil Foden last season he was pretty much unplayable, wasn't he? And he's gone from being unplayable to he's only a positional player because he can't do it for England. And for me, well, if people think that it's a positional player and he can't do it for England, but he can only do it for City, I've got an idea, England. Why don't you play Phil Foden in that position for England? And then you'll get it both ways. I think he was demoralised because he didn't have a great, what was it, World Cup or Euros? I can't remember.
Euros.
And yes, he didn't have a good Euros, but it's not his fault it was a number of things. So on the back of being, the world at his feet, all the accolades, what he got, to having a Euros like that, I think that affected him massively, Paddy.
Well, I think, do you know what didn't help any of the players, to be honest with you, there was just a kind of we went through that bad spell of that kind of collective collapse by everyone, and even like Guardiola, who Amri says was player of the year, looked like a fucking under-9 on a Sunday morning. It was just, there was nobody there to carry the likes of Phil Foden, who wasn't up to standard. Everyone just seemed to be playing below par. We didn't have a great season by our standard, but we've been flat out for the last, was it 6 or 7 seasons we've won the league? Yep. It takes its toll,
You just think, even if we just go for the last 4 seasons where we've won the title, we've been playing 60 plus games a season. We've been getting to finals, and the pressure that's on those players, and then they get to summer where they think, and we all think they're going to get, a nice long break, and they don't, because then they put in stupid international competitions like this. I don't know what you call it, this league thing that they play.
Yeah, Heinz Beans Trophy or something. Yeah,
Yes,
something like that.
you know,
Yeah, it's just
so there's that. And then you get the Euros and you've got a player like Phil that's been on cloud 9, player of the year. And then he goes to England and he doesn't get to play in the position that is naturally suited to him because of bloody Bellingham. Now, and everything then becomes about, oh, Bellingham's this, Bellingham's that, Bellingham's the other. And yet the reality is Bellingham isn't all that. And it has a natural impact on the team, the same way as playing Kane in all those games when he wasn't actually fit enough to play in any of them. You know, it has an impact. And these, you know, for Phil, it was totally demoralising because right from game 1 in that competition, he was getting slated. And then he comes back and it's not even like a proper break for him because he's more or less back and pre-season's going on. And then he's got to get back into the swing of club football. And it's just constant abuse that he's getting because he, you know, in the media's eyes, he wasn't good enough in the summer. Yet forget everything that he's done for the past 4 years. That, you know, so for me, it's all a load of, you know, I think we need to win for Phil. And I think to some extent, I think it's been a big issue for Jack, not necessarily because, you know, because I don't think he's been under quite the same pressure as Phil. But you go from being on such a high of winning, you know, a treble, you know, the league, and then you're going into internationals where you're not getting to play the way you normally play. Mm-hmm. And it's going to have an impact on you. And when you've got the media scrutiny that particularly Jack has, you know, he can't even go out with his mates and have a night out without somebody there clicking a camera in his face trying to catch him out. And I think, you know, it's going to have, and it's not just those two, it's all the players, you know, it's going to have an impact on them. And I think we need to be, you know, and this is not just the supporters.
We do need to support him. I 100% agree with you, Anne-Marie. It's listen, if other fan bases and stuff like that, media slaughtering for whatever, let them do that. But as a City fan base, we need to back him and support him. Here's one for you, Stan. Steve Black says he thinks Walker will go. Do you think that, mate?
I don't know. I think you're sticking your neck out there, Steve. You don't know. Football's got a funny way of coming back and biting you on the arse.
So let's just touch upon we've mentioned departures and stuff like that. Who do you think will come in, Stan? What, Kyle Walker from AC Milan?
You've seen it being done before, haven't you? Do you remember that Kenny Sampson saga years ago that he went to Palace, then to Arsenal and ended up not picking the ball and moved again in the same transfer window? You won't remember that, will you?
What happened to that kid years ago? Was he called Joey Beecham? He
went
from
Oxford.
He went Oxford, yeah.
Oxford, yeah. Oxford to Chelsea.
Yeah, and then
did you do like that? Those, I mean, them young kids, you just don't know what. I mean, people like Kyle Walker, the youngsters, you don't know what's going to happen to them, do you?
I know. Anything else you want to touch upon, guys?
Doing mud duties on Zombie. What was that?
Got what?
The one before. I was trying to read it.
You can't read.
No, a bloody tiny little writing, isn't it?
It's all the same.
Yeah. Tell you what, I think DC's out there. I would like to know the last time United won a game when they weren't given a penalty or an opposition player was sent off.
What's happened to that? What's happened to that sending off? I've not seen it. I've just seen a little bit on
well,
X.
what I read on X is Andy Morrison, our captain, says the decision to send your man off. This makes the Henderson decision absolutely pathetic.
Come on, imagine that.
But from my gallery from that, Andy, it was the same. It's now I haven't seen it. I've only read Andy Morrison's comment, but I think from what Andy Morrison is saying, it was like for like.
No, it wasn't. It wasn't a handball.
I don't know.
No, it wasn't. A United player went round him. It was a bad back pass from Matty Cash, and the player started to go around Martinez, and he just barged him over.
Right. Well, what's Andy Morrison about, so?
Well, it's a comparison in that if that was a red card, then so was the handball outside the area last week.
I agree with Laura there regarding Phil and England. Southgate started his problems.
Yeah.
So, what are we having a break, or are we still cracking on a Sunday?
Well, we'll have to do a transfer show, won't we?
Why, according to you, nobody's going?
Yeah, and what about the Club World Cup when that starts?
Yeah.
2 weeks. Yeah. So what should we do? Should we do another quiz or something? One week?
Yeah.
Do you reckon, Stan?
Yeah, why not? As long as you keep it to questions from the last century, it should be all right.
So who do you think will go this? What defenders will go this summer, Stan?
Don't know. But I tell you what, I think Mahrez might be going. Keep your eye on that one. That might be a late developer.
I don't know. But either way, I'm sure Pep will do exactly the right thing.
I'm sure they're well on with it already.
There you go.
They definitely are. And Kevin De Bruyne decision will demonstrate that. And
There you go. Audible back pass by Matty Cash forced Martinez into a rugby tackle. Cheers, pal. So what are you up to this week, Munchkins?
Back to the grind tomorrow.
Yeah. Oh, we've got a bank holiday here, Paddy. Have you not?
No.
Oh.
I think I might watch the City match.
Which one, Stan? The one at the start of the season?
Any one of them.
He's watching Gillingham against City at Wembley.
Well, of course, the playoffs are on. Congratulations to Sunderland on getting promoted to the Premier League.
Did I read somewhere, Emery, they finished 19 points behind Sheffield United?
Very possibly, yeah.
Yeah,
but it's often the case the team that finishes third doesn't get promoted. And I can't remember who won today in today's game.
Who won today, Anne-Marie?
I'm just looking now.
Stanley.
Charlton beat Leyton Orient to get promoted to the Championship.
Oh, Charlton, jeez, I remember going away to them.
And tomorrow we've got, who's playing tomorrow? AFC Wimbledon against Walsall.
I remember us battering Charlton 5-1 to go up. Happy day.
I bet that seems like yesterday to you, Stan, doesn't it?
It does, mate. It does.
Right, guys, we'll leave it there. Listen, we'll come up with something for next week. We'll see what happens in the land of the blue this week, but we'll come up with something and we'll do some stuff, as it were.
When does the World Club start? 4 weeks?
Three.
Yeah, I think it's the beginning. I think it's sometime in June. Let me just look.
So the players
June 2nd, something like that.
No.
Players will have about 3 weeks off, so.
FIFA's volunteering tomorrow, and he does.
Waka Casablanca.
By the way. Good
Well,
luck.
our first game is the 18th of June.
She's
Yeah,
3 weeks.
Casablanca.
I'm sure I said 3 weeks.
Yeah, 18th of June is our first game.
So we've got Casablanca.
The players
23rd is out in
Yeah, the 26th is Juventus.
Juventus. Are they all away? Why can't we play any home games?
Because they're all in America, Stan.
Oh, I knew there'd be a catch in it somewhere.
But on a serious note, they're only going to have a couple of weeks off the players, so.
Yeah.
Mm.
And again, and then when that finishes, we're more or less straight back into the Premier League.
Yeah, 3 weeks then. When that finishes, 3 weeks to the start of the Premier League season.
So get a week
When's
off.
the final?
Back training for 3 weeks, and then Premiership.
I don't
The
know.
final.
Sam, go and look it up online.
I am doing 13th of July. 13th of July, that, before we come back. So it's about 3 weeks before the season, isn't it? It's ridiculous.
You think Kyle Walker will come back for pre-season, Stan?
No, but I'd like to see him in the World Club Cup. Still going to be contracted, isn't he?
Right, we'll leave it there for this week, guys. I hope you
got the win
last week. Did you miss me last week, by the way?
No,
No.
it went very smoothly last week. Even though we did see you chip in with your comment, dickhead.
And I think I was sober then as well, you know.
You were fucking sober since you left Manchester Airport.
You didn't see me this weekend, mate, in Wales. But that's another story. Listen, guys, thank you very much for everybody in the chat. As always, we've had a good giggle, as always. Anne-Marie, thank you for being the anchor last week.
Pleasure. Always a pleasure. Yes, I know you did. Always a pleasure, never a chore.
Paddy, thank you for last week. Stan, thank you for being the anchor as well last week, mate.
Oh, it's all that good. You pronounced it correctly.
Whatever you do this week, guys, especially in the chat, have a good week, and we will do it again next Sunday. Have a great week.
Take care, everyone.
Adios.